Hey guys, TommyBryson here, and if you're watching this video, most likely you're watching it because you're considering quitting your job. Now, I don't want you to get super excited by the title of this video and say, I'm gonna quit right now. No, you have to also read the whole title because I'm also saying, don't quit just yet. That's the whole idea. You want to be thorough with what you're actually doing. And by the way, one of my favorite examples is a doctor. A doctor basically used the money he made as a doctor to buy a chicken farm. And now he quit his job because his chicken farm makes him so much money by having the chickens lay him eggs. And that is awesome. So the idea is, if you have a job and you hate it and you don't want to do it, how do you basically make it so you can actually quit the job? If you have a job and you like it and you want to do it, but you know if you get fired tomorrow, you're going to be basically done for, the answer is, how do you make it so I can keep working this job, but I don't basically rely on the job 100%. So if I do get fired, I'm going to be just fine. That's what I'm going to break down in this video. And I'm also going to break down the benefits of actually going ahead and quitting your job. Now, if you guys don't know me, again, my name is TommyBryson, and do me a favor and smash the like button. Now, the very first thing, guys, is this, okay? 9 to 5 jobs basically suck, usually, if they're going to be on a salary basis, because the trade you're actually making is, hey, I'm not trading results for money. No, you're trading your time for money. And that's very different. Now, I've hired 2 editors so far for this channel, and they were both great editors, but one main thing I noticed is this. I had an editor that I paid him per result. So basically saying, I have a video that needs editing, and if he edits it, he actually gets paid X amount. That's the idea. There is no deadline. There is no time. There is no pay per hour thing. You know, that's the whole idea, right? And I noticed that when I had it that way, he was basically super efficient and he would get the videos out on time. Everything was perfect, okay? Now, I eventually switched him over to a per hour basis, all right? And I was like, okay, let's see how this works out. And I thought, honestly, it was going to reduce my cost. But what I noticed is, as soon as I did that, the editor became less efficient. And that happened with both of them. You know why that is? It's because if you're getting paid per result, what do you want to do? You want to do the best job possible as fast as possible. But if you're getting paid per hour, then what do you want to do? Obviously, you want to do a good job, but you also know if you finish too fast, you're not going to get paid the amount of money you deserve for that job. So what usually ends up happening is this. People become less productive. Now, that happened to me when I actually got one of my first jobs in college. I went in there and I was like, I'm going to burn through this job, okay? I'm going to just basically work my butt off. And I did. And then I noticed that my coworker was taking it super easy and would take hours to do something that was super simple. And I didn't know why until I realized that when I did my job and I was done in 2 hours, guess what happened, okay? Nothing happened. I still got paid the same amount he got paid. And that makes it so you don't actually want to or feel incentivized to do your job faster. And that's why most people actually don't. But let me just make a pause there. When it comes to work and what you do, you should work to the best of your abilities. Whether you're getting paid per hour or you're getting paid per job. You should not try to basically say, I'm going to extend the heck out of this, okay? Because it's not a good mindset and it's also not good ethics, and it will ruin the way you actually do everything in life. So you should do it as best as possible, as efficient as possible, whether you're being rewarded for it or not. But you should be making a plan to get out of there if they're not actually paying you what you actually deserve to be paid. That's the idea. Now, you have an option here. When you're trading your time for money, it sucks because you're there for 8 hours no matter what. If you're done with your work, okay, they'll give you more work. Or if you're done with your work, you still have to stay at the office. I think it sucks. Now, what is the solution to this first part? The answer is you could always become a 1099 contractor. Now, what that means is basically when you're a W-2 employee, guess what happens, okay? Your employer pays half of your Social Security and half of your Medicaid. Okay, that's the idea. So you usually pay like around like 15%, a little bit more. So they pay half of that, you pay half of that, and they give you, for example, fixed hours and so on. But when you're a contractor, there are no fixed hours, and you are responsible for paying, for example, all of your Medicaid, all of your Social Security. So you're responsible for paying that 15%. Now, there is a con. They can always just let you go whenever they want to, all right? That's the idea. But you could also pay unemployment taxes, so you'll be fine too. But that's the idea. You have less, how do I say this? Less security, but it's like, it's not really like you have more security with a W-2 job. It's just less complicated to actually let you go. But it's a lot better because if you're a contractor and they send you work for the same company and you're done with it in 4 hours, that's it. They can't tell you, well, work more. The answer is no. I'm done with my job and I'm getting paid X for the job I actually did. And I think that is awesome. It's so much better. Now, number 2, guys, is this. Whenever you have a job, guys, usually you have a false sense of security. You might think that the responsible thing to do in life is go to corporate America, get yourself a nice job, a nice cubicle, work from that 9 to 5, go back home, relax, do it all over again, and do it for like 20, 30 years. Most people don't think this way anymore, but a lot of folks tend to think that way, all right? But in reality, picture this, okay? When you're on an airplane, if you ever got on an airplane, or for example, a car. In a car, you put on a seatbelt. On an airplane, you also put on a seatbelt. The difference is, what do you think is actually going to happen if an airplane falls from the sky and all you have to protect yourself is a seatbelt? Most likely, you're not going to make it. It's a false sense of security, and it's there for a reason. For that reason, mostly. Although you should put on your seatbelt, all right? Now, the idea is when you have a job, you do have false sense of security within that job. You say, hey, I've been here for a long time. I have the skills. I have relationships here, all right? They're not going to let me go. But in reality, if the company cannot sustain, they will let you go. It's like a seatbelt on an airplane. You think you're safe, but in reality, you're not safe. Big example here. I walk into the office one day at my college job, and I see everyone, almost like everyone with a box. I'm like, okay, so they're remodeling. Does anyone need help? And then I realized that everyone is so quiet. And I'm like, why is everyone so quiet? Turns out they were letting go half of the office almost. And then one guy who worked with me, basically, he was like, I'm fine, and he was fine that day. But then at a later date, they actually also let him go. He had 15 years in that company. 15 years. And he was reliant on that job. And that's not what you actually want to do. So you might think you have, for example, security in a job. And maybe a lot of folks who say this, okay? They say, well, if I want to be secured in this job, what I want to do is I want to make myself indispensable. The truth is, there are no indispensable characters in somebody else's movie, all right? You trying to become indispensable, you might scare the guy on top of you, and because of that, you might be like a threat, and they might let you go. You trying to be indispensable takes on a lot of energy that you actually give to somebody else's company, and in reality, they could let you go at any moment. It is still a false sense of security. I remember a guy. He felt indispensable. There was no way they would fire him, okay? Then all of a sudden they start telling him, hey, what do you do during the day? And you start telling them, okay? And they tell him, hey, what's your phone like? What's your schedule like? All of a sudden he's fired. And somebody else comes in and replaces him. Never forget, the job you have, somebody else had it before you and they were also replaced. Same thing with you. You can also be replaced. I can also be replaced. So you have to know that. And you have much better use of your energy. Instead of trying to be irreplaceable in somebody else's company, use your extra time and your extra energy to do something productive for yourself, for your own security. That's my advice, okay? Now, number 3, guys, is you can always turn your job into a trade school. And here's what I mean, okay? I've always told people, if you have the ambition to start a business, what you want to do is work at somebody else's business. Here's what I mean, okay? I want to start a coffee business. I want to start like my little like coffee bar nonsense, like a Starbucks or whatever, right? Well, how do I do it if I never actually done it? All I know is I like coffee. I know how to make coffee. That's basically it. But I don't really understand the business. Well, one thing you could do is get a job at Dunkin' Donuts or a job at Starbucks and stay there for like a year or 2 years. And guess what? You might not be getting paid that much money, and it might feel like, hey, I'm like an employee here. I don't like it. I'm a wage slave. But the answer is you're there to acquire valuable skills for what you actually want to do. And that's actually beneficial because all the mistakes that you would have made with your company and would have cost you money, when you make those mistakes at Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts, it costs them money. It's not that you're doing it on purpose. It's not the wrong thing. But the answer is you get to learn while getting paid. You get to get paid for your mistakes. And I think that is awesome. So here's my advice, guys, okay? You want to put yourself in a position where if you're at a job and you don't like it and you hate it, well, start planning your exit strategy. Now, does that make you a bad employee, a bad person? The answer is no. I remember one of my best editors, he was working with me, and at the same time, I knew he was trying to figure out a way to actually stop working and to actually do something else. And I was like, yo, get it done, okay? That is awesome. Because, you can't really take that personal. And in the end, you can always be let go from a job. And you have to understand it, okay? So you want to basically position yourself whether you hate this job, well, what can you do to actually quit this job, okay? Or you like this job, like a friend of mine. She loved her job and her job sucked. And I was like, your job sucks. And I was like, she's like, why does it suck? You're getting paid like $6. What? No, it wasn't $6. It was like less than $9. Like, no, it was like $10 an hour. I think so. Like $10 an hour. And I'm like, your job sucks. It doesn't allow you to actually do much. And she was like, yeah, but I like it. I'm like, I know you like your job, but it doesn't pay you enough. You should consider working somewhere else. You should not get attached to a job. And if you have friends at a job, your friends are not going to stop being your friends just because you're not there. And if they do, they're not your friends in the first place. But that's the idea, okay? So if you're working a job you don't like, start figuring out a way to actually leave that job. Again, some of the reasons are, hey, you're trading time for money. Try to switch that from time for money to results for money. Guess what? You have a false sense of security. Instead of trying to become indispensable, use that extra time and energy on something for yourself. Number 3 is, if you're working a job and there are valuable skills to be learned, well, learn those skills and figure out a way to actually exit, okay? And by the way, I do want to relay this. I am not a part of that whole like silent quitting thing, okay? Where you basically do the bare minimum so you don't get fired. I think that's a very stupid approach to life where you do, for example, very non-technical work where you basically do the bare minimum. You're not really trying your best. It's not a good approach to life, okay? You should try to do your best in a way as much as you possibly can, okay, where you're actually going to be healthy and just so you can actually build character, because that builds character. But you shouldn't be there doing your best forever. Try to figure out a way to actually exit. And by the way, I should add, guys, that I don't believe in the whole dream job thing. I believe jobs are important. I believe you should like what you do, but I don't believe you put basically your life into a job, because a job is just something you do, all right? I'd rather spend my time with my family, with my church, with my friends, building things, going places, talking, reading. I'd rather do that than, for example, say my life is my job. I don't see any merit in that really, okay? But guys, that is it. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified. I'll see you guys next time.